Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danu Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call. So I see our speaker has joined today.
Hare Krishna,
So
this is
Hare Krishna, dear
Premeshwari.
devotees. We are very fortunate. We have Her Grace Premeshwari Padmavati Dasi Mataji from Mayapur, India. And Mataji is going to enlighten us from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 16, and verse number 24 onwards. Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. You may take over the call when you are ready.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So, first of all, welcome all to all our devotees who have joined here, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to meditate on Srimad Bhagavatam. And also, I would like to seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas that I can speak something in line with the mood of our Guru Parampara. So, let's begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनधारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं हरि ओं तत्सत् Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 16, entitled Executing the Payovrat Process of Worship. I'll just share my screen just a minute. Can the host please allow me to share the screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
one. Okay. Yeah, you should be able to share now.
Yeah, is the screen visible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay. So we'll just start. So just a brief background, like we have been discussing this series of events wherein how the all the demigods, they were defeated by Bali, and then Aditi, who was aggrieved for her sons, she approaches her husband Kashyapa Muni and asks him, to enlighten her. And Kashyapa Muni starts to explain this payovrat, which is a specific form of worship or a specific vrata, which is done by especially the mother, like, or it can be done both by the couple, but it's done especially by the mother. And payo, like the very word payo is indicating milk, and then it is done to, get like Lord Krishna satisfied, and obviously get when you like when Aditi did it, it was to get Lord Krishna as a son. Now, but then it's also prescribed for grahastas who are wanting to conceive, that they can do it. Now, obviously, their desire can be okay, we want the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but if we are not qualified, then we obviously get some good devotee. At least we get a good devotee. So the idea is that this vrata is one of the vratas which is done by various couples or grihastas who are wanting to have Krishna conscious children. Now, it's a slightly difficult vrata or a slightly austere vrata. If rather than putting it as a difficult, we can put it as slightly austere. But there are devotees who are still doing it, and let's try to understand and meditate on the mood of the vrata. So this is. Text 24. Shri Kashyapa Uvacha Etanme Bhagavan Prashta Praja Kamasya Padmaja Yadaha Te Pravakshyami Vratam Keshavatoshanam. Translation. Shri Kashyapa Muni said, when I desired offspring, I placed inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from a lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. Purport. Here the process of devotional service is further explained. Kashyapa Muni wanted to instruct Aditi in the same process recommended to him by Brahma for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is valuable. The Guru does not manufacture a new process to instruct the disciple. The disciples receives from the Guru an authorized process that is received by the Guru from his Guru. And this is called the system of disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. This is a bona fide Vedic system of receiving the process of devotional service by which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. Therefore, to approach a bona fide guru or spiritual master is essential. The bona fide spiritual master is he who has received the mercy of his guru, who in turn is bona fide because he has received the mercy of his guru. This is called the parampara system. Unless one follows this parampara system, the mantra one receives will be chanted for no purpose. Nowadays, there are so many rascal gurus who manufacture their mantras as a process for material advancement, not spiritual advancement. Still, the mantra cannot be successful if it is manufactured. Mantras and the process of devotional service have special power provided they are received from the authorized person. So, um, like, before, like, or rather, from this whole event where Kashyapa Muni starts to instruct Aditi, we see that there's a very valuable, very valuable teaching that we can get from this. That is, Kashyapa Muni wants to instruct Aditi the very same process that was recommended to him by Brahmaji for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we understand, like, a bona fide guru. What makes a person bona fide? If he's connected with a bona fide parampara and he is giving the instructions of his guru as it is to his followers, and his guru is giving that instruction as it is as he is received from his guru to him. So then, this whole chain becomes bona fide. And I'm sorry. And as long as this as it is, where Bhagavad Gita is also, Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Prabhupada writes in the preface that, prior to him, there were so many editions of translation, like English translations available, but none of them were bona fide because none of them focused on the central theme of Bhagavad Gita. They did not present the message that Krishna wanted to give as it is. They had, diverted from the topic, or they were trying to present their own self interests, etc., etc. So, therefore, if we look carefully, this is something which is very, very important. Now, one may ask that, okay, this is something which we know, we have been hearing every time, we have Bhagavad Gita, we say it's Bhagavad Gita as it is. So why is so much emphasis laid on this point? So let us try to understand. See, now ISKCON, it's a growing organization, and Prabhupada wanted everyone to actually go out and preach. Like, I was listening to one seminar here in Mayapur recently, and in that they were giving quotes like how Srila Prabhupada wanted everyone to be a guru. So, now what is a qualification? Like, how can we actually try to fulfill this instruction or this desire of Srila Prabhupada? So we have to follow two things. Now, obviously, for being a guru, there are many qualifications, but I'm just focusing on something which is connected with the theme of the verse. The most important thing is that we do not manufacture anything on our own. Like, here later in the purport, it's written that if a guru is manufacturing their mantra, then there's no spiritual advancement. There are so many rascal gurus, like how there are so many bogus gods, people who claim themselves to be incarnations of Vishnu, but they're all bogus. Similarly, gurus who are, manufacturing their own mantras, their own ways, then it's all bogus. In fact, this morning I was listening to one class by His Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj, and he was saying that there was one person, I forgot his name. That person goes to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says that, look, I have written a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, and my commentary is better than that of Sridhar Swami. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not very happy with it. He immediately said that anyone who does not follow the commentary or does not accept the commentary of Swami, he's a prostitute. Right? Now, obviously, there is two meanings of that word Swami in this statement that is said by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One, obviously, Swami is referring to Sridhar Swami, because the base commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam is that of Sridhar Swami. There are different other acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others who have also given commentaries, but their commentary is also based on the base commentary given by Sridhar Swami, and then they elaborate, or they give some other perspective. They share their own, I mean, not their own, sorry, but they give different perspectives. So, but it is based like, accepting the commentary given by Sridhar Swami. No one can say that it is better than the commentary of Sridhar Swami. It's like more further elaboration of Sridhar Swami's commentaries. And then, so in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's statement, the one who doesn't accept Swami, he is a prostitute. So that Swami also refers to master, right? So, like, for example, a wife. Now, the Swami also refers to her husband because he's her master. And if, she's not accepting him, then she's as good as a prostitute. So that was the analogy that was being used. So the point is that for us as ISKCON members, as followers of Srila Prabhupada, we all have to aspire to be gurus or to be preachers, right? Now, we may not become Diksha Gurus, but at least every one of us is a Shiksha Guru. And see, it's not even like, if you're going out, even in the family itself, everyone has their responsibilities of a Shiksha Guru. Like parents are Shiksha Gurus for their children, right? Elder siblings are Shiksha Gurus for the younger siblings. Now, sometimes it may happen that the kids take up Krishna consciousness and then they become Shiksha Gurus for their parents. So, in that sense, if we were to look at it, every one of us is in some way or the other a Shiksha Guru. So how do we conduct ourselves, or how do we behave, or what is it that we have to do? So among the various other things that we have to do, one most important thing is we have to follow and we have to preach Srila Prabhupada's teachings as it is. We do not mix, we do not dilute, we do not concoct. There's a lot of debate that goes on currently, like in ISKCON circles, of various aspects, or rather I would say various controversial aspects, that is this in line with what Srila Prabhupada wanted, or what he didn't want. So I'm not going to get into those discussions right now, because as I said, some of them are also controversial, and we don't need to transgress from our topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. But the point is, as preachers, as Shiksha Gurus, it is important that we also are logically convinced, and see, we surrender to our guru, but we don't surrender our intelligence. We surrender with our intelligence. So, what does that mean? That we have to be always alert that whatever teachings we are taking from our gurus, that is in line with what Srila Prabhupada said. Right? This is something which we also learn in our IDC course when we are dealing with the topic of rejection of a guru. So the when a guru is to be rejected, when he falls down from his position, or when that fall down means in terms of teachings, right? Like he doesn't give teachings which are in line with that of a guru parampara. So in that case, there is like that's an exception, and the common example is given of how Bali Maharaj, he did not accept the teachings of Shukracharya, and he went ahead and he gives his like whatever charity he had to give to Vamandev. We'll be discussing that in the subsequent chapters very soon, the whole pastime of Vamandev. So therefore, it is very, very important that as Shiksha Gurus, we also follow this principle and try to preach to the point, to the what we have got in a part like from Srila Prabhupada via our Guru. So that chain of disciplic succession. In ISKCON, many times people like to do various things, innovative ways of preaching, as we say. And then, there is always a debate like, is this what Srila Prabhupada wanted? Is this a dilution of the philosophy? And in that way. So we have to obviously get the right guidance, be crystal clear ourselves so that we don't transgress. Because if we transgress, then obviously our followers, like whom we are trying to connect with the process, they will also be transgressing. So therefore, it is very, very important that this parampara system is maintained intact, because see, we are the I would say we are the current generation, right? Is gone. We are trying to preach. We are trying to serve in whatever capacity we can to expand this movement. And if we ensure that we pass on the message as it is to the future generation, then the right message goes. Otherwise, it will be like that Chinese whisper, right? The message that starts from one corner, but by the time it comes to the last, the whole circle is finished, the whole message is changed. We don't want that to happen in ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada said his books are the law books for ISKCON for the next 10,000 years. So we have to ensure that we are passing exactly the same message that has been given in his books for the generations to come in the future, which is the next 10,000 years, or which is the golden age. And this is very, very valuable. Like here it says, right? The guru does not manufacture a new process to instruct the disciple. So whatever is there, it comes. Now, one may ask a question. See, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, he did a lot of unconventional things to preach over there, right? And yet, when he was being asked that what is responsible, or what really led to his huge success, so he said that nothing is to my credit. If at all I have some credit, is that I followed the instructions of my spiritual masters as it is. I tried to do, as it is. So now one may have this doubt, or one may have this question that how? Like Srila Prabhupada gave the philosophy as it is, but he did a lot of tweaks. Like, one common thing is like he gave Brahman initiation, and then, when these people, they came to India, then the Goswamis in Vrindavan, the so-called, like the caste Goswamis, they were not ready to accept these devotees because they were not born in Brahmana families. So that was a matter of debate. Obviously, like there's rational in the Shastras, and I'm not getting into the details because it will be a very long discussion. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself had written a very detailed essay, and he had proved this point of how a Vaishnava is superior to a Brahmana in one of the forums, like a debate forum that was organized here in Navadvip. So this position. Then things like women, like for example, in India, women, like if you look at the traditional Indian culture or the Vedic culture, women, like they were always under the protection of their father, husbands, or grown-up sons. But then in the West, there were brahmacharini ashrams. Women were allowed to stay in the temple, worship the deities, something which was not really seen in India. So, um, now the question may come that how is it that Prabhupada is then saying that the only that I have is that I've kept things as it is. So we need to understand that the philosophy has been kept as it is. Application has been done to adapt in to the time, place, circumstances, so that maximum people are able to absorb the philosophy and make advancement in their lives. For example, in the West, the civilization was so degraded, right? Like people had no, like absolutely, like forget the culture. Like it was this, there was so much free mixing of boys and girls, men, women, so much of sex indulgence, etc. So in order to get them out of that, like basically, like in very crude sense to say, to get them out from the animal status of life to at least human status, it was really essential to do these appropriate adjustments based on time, place, circumstances, and that is called, that is basically refers to one who is an acharya. Acharya means he can take the exact philosophy and apply it in the perfect way that is suitable to the time, place, circumstances, without diluting the essence, without compromising on the principle, and yet having the maximum effect. But now, when this message is passed on to the next generation, then we have to be careful that we understand the original philosophy. We do not dilute it. That is very important. Like, for example, in the West, Srila Prabhupada did everything. Like, he gave all concessions and, everything was done. But then he also wanted one ashram system to be established. In his, like, if we read his commentaries, his purports in Srimad Bhagavatam, at many places he has explained how he wants women to be, how Vaishnavis should be, how wives should be in their, women in their roles as wives, mothers, so how they should be. And then from that we understand that he also wanted the Vedic culture to be followed, which was then again, and like subsequently we see his disciples, they are trying to get it, like try to develop that. So this was very, very important. In fact, um not just this part of how Vaishnavis or how women should be, but even in other aspects. Like I remember once, um there was this discussion about culture. So then, in the West, Srila Prabhupada gave a lot of relaxation so that people come, but he never compromised on the principles. He gave relaxation so that people come, they accept, they join the part, but from his Indian disciples, like, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, Loknath Swami Maharaj, then, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, there he really wanted, like, he really showed, what Indian culture was, what the Vedic culture was, and how he wanted that to be taken as an integral part of our ISKCON movement. So that, because see, this Vedic culture is, it is basically a part of an ashram, and that is very important for peaceful family life. And unless people are living peaceful lives at home, it is very difficult to actually practice Krishna consciousness. And if they are only not able to practice Krishna consciousness, then how will they preach, and how will that preaching be effective? So it is very, very important that one ashram, which is like proper stepping stone for spiritual advancement, that is followed. So the point is, like, just to answer or just to get that clarification in our mind, that Srila Prabhupada did not manufacture a new process to instruct his disciples. He exactly gave the message as it is, but as a true acharya, he did it in a way that was suitable, that was perfect based on time, place, circumstances, to have the maximum effect. Moving on to the next verse. फाल्गुनस्यामले पक्षे द्वादशाहं पयोव्रतम् अर्चयेद् अरविन्दाक्षं भक्त्या परमयान्वितः. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, February and March, For 12 days ending with Dwadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. So actually, right now we are in that bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, and this Payovrat, if someone wanted to do, this was the time to do it, and it will end on Dwadashi. So, like in Mayapur, tomorrow is Ekadashi, day after is Dwadashi. I don't know how is it in the US, but like right now we are actually in that period where this Payovrat is supposed to be observed. And as Kashyapa Muni is saying, that one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Purport: worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu with devotion means following the Archana Marga. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Yeah. One should install the deity of Lord Vishnu and Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer a flame, incense, and so on, while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk. This is called Payovrat. As we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwadashi one not consume anything but milk. Payovrat and Archana devotional service to the Supreme Lord should be performed with a pure devotional attitude. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing that He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take to the process of bhakti. As recommended here also, bhaktya paramayan vitaha, one should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining in the purport that how this Payovrat has to be executed. Like, one is obviously like, you only take milk for these 12 days. And other is worshipping the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. So, how do you really do it? So, it means following Archana Marga. So, what all? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So, this is what has to be done. And then he's further explaining, like, deity worship. Like, you have a deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Now, obviously, Krishna is never alone. Krishna is always either with Srimati Radharani, Gopis, or with Balram and the Gopisakhas, or if not like these, and at least with a cow. So because Krishna is Govinda and Gopala, so at least Krishna with the cow. In our sampradaya, we don't worship Laddu Gopal. I mean, that's not something that has been given in our sampradaya. So this worship of Bal Gopal is not something which we do. So we have like Radha Krishna or Krishna Balram, like how in Vrindavan Srila Prabhupada established the Krishna Balram Mandir. So yeah, so basically installing a deity, worshipping him nicely, decorating him with flower garlands, offering all kinds of fruits, flowers, etc. And the key principle is with bhakti. Because without bhakti, we can never worship the Lord. So, like, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prashriti. Krishna is so kind. He does not need big, lavish offerings from us. Anything, even if you're offering a single leaf, single flower, single fruit, or just water with love and devotion, he will accept it. But it has to be surcharged with bhakti. Now, like we know these pastimes, like how when Krishna, he went as a peace messenger to Hastinapur, Duryodhana had arranged lavish feast for him. Now, obviously, he had evil intentions. He wanted to have mix poison and kill the Lord, and he was not so friendly. He was inimical, and all that was there. But at least from an external show, it was a lavish feast. Whereas, what did Krishna do? Krishna said, "No, I cannot come here." And where did Krishna go? He went to the house of Vidura. Now, Vidura, in that Mahabharat, like in the whole pastime of Mahabharat, he's a very simple, like, he like a Dasi Putra. Dasi Putra is like a Shudra, basically. And very simple house. Vidurani, like she serves the Lord. And in an ecstasy of serving the Lord, like, at the end we know, like, how she opens the banana, but she gives him the skin of the banana and throws the inside part. And Krishna, because he sees the love, he sees the bhakti that is there in Vidurani, he's ready to, like, he starts eating that banana skin with so much happiness. So that is the Lord. He's Bhavagrahi Janardana. He's looking like at the bhav. He's looking, he wants bhakti. So now how can we develop that? Because see, we are in a very neophyte stage. So we cannot say that, oh, I'm going to give Krishna anything and I will claim to do it with a lot of bhakti. Then it becomes like the Sahajiyas. So Srila Prabhupada has given us the standard that in our neophyte stage, we worship the Lord in the Aishwarya Bhav. So, like for example, in our temples, deity worship, we are worshipping Radha Krishna, but we are not qualified to worship Radha Krishna. So, we are worshipping them in Aishwarya Bhav as, as the source of Lakshmi Narayan. So, you see, in all ISKCON temples, we have very lavish worship of Radha Krishna deities and other deities, obviously, like Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Gaur, Nittai, everyone. Why? Because that is what has been recommended by acharyas at the neophyte stage. Till we come to that, the stage of bhava, like the 9 steps that are there, beginning from Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, etc. Till we come to the stage of bhava, we have to follow the rules and regulations of sadhana bhakti, and that when we are doing archana, when we are doing worship of the Lord, then it is done more in a regulated way and in the Aishwarya Bhav. So we will try to have the most lavish, for like even in our homes, when we are doing deity worship, we will try to have, let's say, silver plates, silver cups for offering bhoga, and then the aarti, they're all like either, these days it's all like brass and stuff. But the point is that for the Lord, the effort is always that based on our capacity, we get the most lavish, the most expensive. But Krishna is not wanting these lavish things. He is interested in the bhakti that we have. If we have bhakti, then even a simple thing will be accepted by him. But if we don't have bhakti, then even the most lavish offering is of no use, because that will not please the Lord. There are so many stories, so many pastimes that how Krishna is he's really taken away, like he's really not captured, like he's really conquered by pure love. He just wants bhakti. Like, when we go to Jagannath Puri, we visit this beautiful temple of Sri Alarnath. And we all know that pastime, right? How when this small boy, Raghu, his father, he's going, and when he goes for some work, he tells his boy that you offer to the Lord. And this Madhu is very sweet, very simple. He doesn't know all these mantras. He just goes and keeps the bhoga plate in front of the Lord and says, my dear Lord, I don't know all these big mantras that my father says. I am just a small child. So you please kindly take this bhoga and please eat it. Because if you don't, then my parents will scold me. They'll say like, I did not offer it to you properly. And then praying like this, he goes out to play. And then he had seen his father. Like after 10 minutes, he used to go back. So after 10 minutes, he returns. And the plate is as it is. Little Madhu cannot understand it. Oh my God, what's happening? He cannot understand the principle that Krishna can even eat with his eyes and still keep prasadam intact for his devotees. So he got very perturbed. He said, my Lord, please don't do this. Just because I don't know mantras, if you don't eat, then what do I tell my parents? They're all going to get angry on me. And like this, he starts crying in front of the Lord. And at the third time, when he comes back, the Lord has actually eaten the whole plate. Every single item has been relished and eaten by the Lord. Then he takes that empty plate back to his mother. His mother is surprised. She thinks that, probably he just, like he was hungry and he ate it, and then he's saying that the Lord eaten, right? And then that, when his father returns back, then he like they have a discussion, and then the mother tells the father that this is what happened. So his father, who has been worshipping, like he's the chief priest of the Alarna deity for so many years, he says, what? How can a deity made of stone eat it? Right? So then that shows that how, irrespective of what we've been doing, like if we're just doing it mechanically without this bhakti, right, without this surcharge, with unalloyed devotional service, it is meaningless. And then like we know how, then just to test the little boy, the father says, okay, make some hot sweet rice, and he gives it to the child to offer. And the father, he's hiding behind the deity just to see what happens. And then the child goes to the deity, and again he's crying that, my lord, you ate last time, please eat the sweet rice, because if you don't, then my parents will scold me, right? And then the Lord actually, this, I mean, apparently the stone deity, he moves his hand and he lifts the sweet rice pot, and he was just about to eat when like from behind, the father, he just hits the deity, and because he hits the deity, this hot sweet rice just splashes, and then there are burn marks on his chest and on his hand. And even today, when we go to take the darshan of Alarnath, we can see those burn marks. So, therefore, it is so important that whatever we are doing, it should not be mechanical. We have to do it with bhakti. And here also, like Payovrat, see, it is not just about just drinking milk. The main part is of this austerity is that worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. And with this, it's because of this devotion that the Lord will be pleased. Like there's this very beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Leela. There was one Brahmana, he was just eating milk. Throughout his life, he was just taking milk. Like, here, Payovrat, Aditi did 12 days. She just had milk and she got the Supreme Personality of Godhead as her son. And here in Chaitanya Leela, there was this Brahmana who was just taking milk, nothing else. And he was just desirous to observe, to witness the divine Sankirtan that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates were performing every evening in Srivas Angan. So he goes and he pleads to Srivas Thakur that please give me one chance to come and witness. Now, no one was allowed in that, night Sankirtan group except for those select confidential associates of the Lord whom the Lord had allowed. So now Srivas Thakur, he's a devotee. Devotees by nature are very compassionate. So Srivas Thakur said, okay, so you're not allowed because, except for the people whom the Lord himself has allowed, no one else is allowed. But since you're requesting, you're allowed to come, hide inside the room, and you can just observe the Sankirtan. You won't be allowed to participate, but you can just hide and observe. Now, this Brahmana was very pleased and he goes ahead and he hides the way Srivas Thakur told him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and he came, all his associates came, and they start the Sankirtan at night. After some time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suddenly stops and he says that today I'm not able to relish this Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan in the same way. And he asked Srivas that is there anyone in this room who is not supposed to be? Because see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a Padmatma. He's a super soul in everyone's heart. He knows everything. And then that Brahmana, he got scared and he comes out. And when he comes out, the Lord gets very angry. He shouts and he says, in that transcendental anger, he displays the transcendental anger. He says, what do you think? Just by drinking milk, can you, purchase me? can you get pure devotion? Like that, he shouts or he scolds the Brahmana. And this Brahmana, very humbly, he says, I mean, yes, he accepts that, yes, just by drinking milk, you cannot get the Lord. And very humbly, he moves out. Seeing his humility, again, being the Paramatma, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood the mood in his heart. So that humility pleased Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he calls back the Brahmana and he's allowed to participate. So the point is that Payovrat also, the main principle is not just drinking milk. Because if it is just about fasting, right, there are so many fasts. Like, why are we discussing about Payovrat in Srimad Bhagavatam? Not to belittle or not to disrespect any religion, but we know even in other modern day religions like Islam, they have this 30 days fast during the month of Ramzan. Then I know I had some friends from Jain community. They have this thing, Paryushan, wherein like they have different levels. So once my friend, she was in her, like she was some, I think 22, 22 years old. She did this Paryushan, wherein for 8 days she had nothing, like no water, no milk, no fruits, nothing, absolutely nothing for 8 days. But then there are people who have been doing such kind of fasts for 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, 40 days, like there are different gradations. So, even in what we see, like the modern apparent or contemporary religions, there are various fasts that have been prescribed. Then why are we only discussing this Payovrat in Srimad Bhagavatam? So the reason or the answer to that question is because Payovrat is not just some ritualistic austerity or some fast. It is a fast which is with devotion and with the intention to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the previous verse, we read this, right? Toshnam, like Keshava, see this Vratam, Keshava Toshnam. Like in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we know there's this verse, Samsiddhir Hari Toshnam, that all these religions, like whatever it is bona fide as long as it is for the pleasure of the Lord. Hari Toshnam, like Samsiddhir Hari Toshnam, it is for pleasing Lord Hari. Similarly, this Vrata is for Keshava Toshnam, for pleasing Keshava, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is something which is very important for all of us to understand. Sorry. I think I didn't go next. Sorry. Yeah. So now, like just as this like here in the pulpit, it is being said that without bhakti, we cannot worship the Supreme Personality of God. So, for all of us who are doing deity worship, many of us will have deities at home. Many of us might be also going to the temple to worship the deities. It is very important that we do it with bhakti and not just mechanically. Everywhere there has to be bhava. The more we have, the more we associate emotions, and not in the sahajiya way, not in like some fanatical way, but backed by philosophy, but in an emotional and in that with bhava. Then we actually can say that we're trying to worship the Lord with bhakti, and that is something that will please Him. With this, I think I'll just stop here for today. Are there any questions or comments that anyone has?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dharam Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. Thank you for a wonderful class and explaining for the Payovrat also. Don't have any question, but I will ask devotees to share their realization, any question they have.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Madan Pranam to you. Shri Prabhat ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. And Danan Pranam to all the devotees on the call. Shri Prabhat ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. So Mataji, this vrata was, what is the purpose of doing the vrat?
Yes, Mataji. So as we read in the first verse today, right, that like when Kashyapa Muni wanted to have an offspring, that time Brahmaji instructed this vrata to him, for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now when Aditi wants a child, because she is very much aggrieved by the plight of her sons, that is the demigods. So she wants, like, she is desirous of getting a son. So now Kashyapa Muni is instructing. So apparently, like externally, if you look at it, the reason for doing Payovrat is to get a son. And the main, obviously, like just as every yagya, everywhere the chief beneficiary is Lord Vishnu. So here also the main objective is for the pleasure of Lord Keshava, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, that, like Lord Krishna basically.
So basically, Mataji, after this vrata was done, like she wanted it for the protection of her sons, and
Yeah,
what I
she
understand, like
gets
little,
Vaman Dev. Yeah, she gets
little,
Vaman Dev, who is Lord Vishnu's
yes,
incarnation. And Vaman Dev goes and he takes like Bali, like from Bali Maharaj, he takes the kingdom and he gives it to Aditi's son, that is the demigods.
yeah. So Lord Vamandev appeared, like Lord Vishnu appeared basically as Vamandev to help the
Yes.
demigod. Okay.
It's the main objective of the Vrata is to get a son.
And as you said, like this vrata is primarily on the milk, while
Yes,
you're
on milk.
observing,
You
while
just
you're worshipping the Lord.
milk.
Hmm.
Yes, while
Yeah.
worshipping the Lord, and there are other, like just like every other vrata. In this vrata also there are various other things, like this, like you have to go and bathe in a river thrice a day. Then like there's some specific mud, like basically where the pig he digs a hole, that mud has to be brought. It has to be smeared while bathing and all that. So those details or the intricacies of the vrata will be explained in the subsequent verses.
Yeah. So, and in ISKCON Mataji, so I understand like this vrata is not mandatory, and Prabhupada has given us like, following the four regulative principle, chanting the 16 round, and Ekadashi vrata is the most important, and doing like
Yes.
other devotional service, that Prabhupada has given. Now, as a devotee, like what is the spiritual significance we can take from here, like for this vrata? Like, is it like, we are dependent on the Lord? We are surrendered, or like what are the teachings we can take so that we can grow in our bhakti?
Yes, Prabhu. So, okay. So, like as you rightly said, that Srila Prabhupada has, given us, like main obviously is chanting minimum 16 rounds every day, following the four regulative principles, following various fasts like Janmashtami, then God Purnima, Nasima Chaturdashi, etc. Then following the Ekadashi Vrata. So these are the, then also following the Kartik Vrata, Purushottam month, these kind of months. So all this has been given by Srila Prabhupada. And for the purpose of like begetting Krishna conscious children, in the olden days we didn't have a lot of like pandits in ISKCON, and this whole brahmanas who can do various sacrifices and all, they were not there. So then that time Srila Prabhupada gave a very simple thing. He said just chant 50 rounds, and you go ahead with the Garbhadan samskar, and that's it. But then later on, like we obviously know that how he indicated, like he wanted us to follow the samskaras. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he has written a book, Satkriya Saradipika, in which all the samskaras have been outlined, which are being followed by us, that is the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, including ISKCON. So, like, if you see the Vivaha Samskar, like whatever marriages are being performed in ISKCON, that is being done based on the Paddhati or the method that has been outlined in this Satkriya Saradipika. Now, that same very Satkriya Saradipika also has a Garbhadan, the process, or the, how do you say, like the process for Garbhadan Samskar, like what are the mantras to be chanted, what all has to be done by the husband, what has to be done by the wife, when they can actually try to conceive, and so many, like a lot of details have been given. And at the same time, even in modern day, like we don't see many people do it, but I've seen some devotees in Mayapur actually do this Payovrat. It is done, I mean, see, it is done, it is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and Prabhupada has nowhere written that ISKCON devotees have no need to do this vrata. They can just chant Hare Krishna mantra and go ahead. He's giving, like, in his purports, he's explaining in so much detail how this vrata is to be done. Now, one aspect of Payovrata is it is to be done only on milk. But what more? So, for that, what more? Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purports, right? It is done like we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. It is done for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So, it is just like, yagya. Like, for example, um, when we study about yagyas, every yagya there is some particular purpose, like putra kameshri yagya, this yagya, that yagya. But Lord Vishnu is the ultimate beneficiary in all sacrifices. Similarly, in this payovrat also, it is being done by subsisting on milk for the purpose of getting a child, for specifically for the purpose of getting a son. But ultimate objective is pleasing the Supreme Lord. So nowhere here, in the purports, Srila Prabhupada is writing that ISKCON devotees need not do it. So it is not that he didn't want people to do it. Just that in those days it was not so practical, so it was not like widely spread. Even today, it's not widely being propagated because it is little difficult, especially in cities. Like, I know when in cities where both husband and wives are working, I mean, how you will get 12 days leave, and how will you just subsist on milk? Because if you're going to office, then the whole purpose is lost. In the subsequent verses, we will see like how the mind should be fully focused on Krishna. There should be no prajalpa, and like so many
There are
rules
ways
and regulations are there.
to do
Hello,
practice.
sorry.
And the way we're going to discuss in this video is what are called enumerators.
Let
So
me mute.
think of a type where
Yeah,
you
I think
yeah.
somebody's on unmute now.
Right. No worries. So, in most of cities where both husband and wife are working, it is not even practical to do this vrata. But I have seen in Mayapur, there are some couples who have done this vrata, and there are also the priests who come and, who actually do the yagyas, assist these couples in actually doing this vrata. So, it is not like ISKCON devotees cannot do it. It is just more like because of the practical challenges, it's not possible for many to do it. So for them it's like, the simple thing, okay, the day you're trying to do garbhadan samskar, that day you do, like, morning you attend mangalati, you take blessings from the TTs, you take blessings from Srila Prabhupada, from your Guru Maharaj, from other elders, senior Vaishnavas, take blessings from Go Mata, and then follow the principles, or basically follow the process that has been outlined in the Satkriya Saradipika by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. I hope that answers the question, Prabhu.
Yes, Mami.
Yes, thank you. Any other
I
questions?
have another thing, like in the purport it says about the disciplic system, and then later in the last line it says the mantra like cannot be successful, and then if it is manufactured, okay, and then the mantra and the process of devotional service have a special power, provided they give from the authorized person. So in society,
Right.
sometimes we see that people talk to each other. They say like, okay, oh yeah, you can recite this mantra and that mantra. So for the material benefits, people start chanting it. They see that okay,
Right.
my problem will be resolved. But let's say if somebody says, hey, why don't you chant the Hare Krishna mantra? Okay,
Right.
does the Hare Krishna mantra has any effect if it is not given by a authorized person? If it is just given by, just okay, I went to the ISKCON temple and this is a mantra, you can also start chanting and this is the beat. So what is the difference between if a regular person gives a mantra to another person versus a authorized person, or a guru gives the mantra? Can you elaborate, Mataji, on that?
Yes, bro. So, bro, see, there are two things. First, Hare Krishna mantra is a very special. It's not a mantra. It's actually a Maha mantra. It is the mantra for this Kali Yuga age. Specifically, it has been like the entire potency, like Krishna, Lord. There's no difference between Lord Krishna and this Hare Krishna Maha mantra. And Lord, like the Lord has invested all his potencies in this holy name or in this Mahamantra. So if you look at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions and even, our Guru Parampara, like Srila Prabhupada, this mantra has to be given to everyone. So that potency is already there, that empowerment is already there. So even if someone just goes to a ISKCON temple, they hear Hare Krishna mantra, they will have the effect. Now, obviously, if they take to the process seriously, they take initiation from a bona fide guru, and they with all the like when all the purity of thoughts, minds, like in the morning Brahma Muhurta, they sit in one place and try to chant their 16 rounds, it will definitely have a higher effect. Because in process of chanting we have three stages. The first stage is with offenses. We're all chanting with offenses. So this Namaprad stage, and even the second stage, I think it's a Namabhas, sorry, I forget the Sanskrit name. But even in the second stage, we are not getting the maximum benefit. But at the same time, it is not that there's no benefit. So for Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is already that empowerment that is, it has to be freely distributed. Like, our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he always says that when Krishna came, he had love of Godhead, but it was locked. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he opened the treasure house, he opened the floodgates. So in Kali Yuga, Hare Krishna Mahamantra can be chanted. It will have its effect on everyone. Now, how quickly or how potent that effect is depends on, how we are chanting, like how offenselessly we are chanting, how much we are following all the other rules, regulations, how much faith we have in the holy name, how much faith we have in the instructions of the spiritual master. All that is there. But when we talk about these mantras, that they have special power when they are received from authorized person. So Hare Krishna mantra is already coming from authorized person. It is already coming from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and from Srila Prabhupada. So they are already authorized. So it's coming from them. So it has the power. But other mantras, like the other, like this Kama Gayatri mantra, which devotees, when they take the Brahman initiation, they chant. These mantras are not to be given freely. They will have no use. Like if like I remember when I was in school, we used to chant one of these Gayatri mantras in the morning prayers. And I remember my parents, they were, that, I mean, they were connected with this con. So they were sharing that this mantra is not supposed to be chanted, like, so like openly and all. So that chanting of mantra will have no effect. But Hare Krishna mantra is already, like, all the potency of the Lord is already invested in that mantra. So even if people just chant, like, few, I mean, not few, now actually several years back, there was just some movie song that was made wherein, they were chanting like Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, like something like that. They were not chanting the exact mantra, but they kind of like made fun of it. But even then it will have some effect. Now it will not have perfect effect because it's being done offense, like with offenses, and it is being done to ridicule and all that is there. So it's like offensive. But at the same time, the holy name is so powerful that it will have effect. So what, like when we say here that mantras and process of devotional service have special power provided they are received from authorized persons, that in general refers to other mantras, because Hare Krishna mantra is already being provided by the authorized person. Srila Prabhupada is an authorized representative of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is giving this Hare Krishna mantra to everyone. So we can chant, we can let others chant, everyone will be benefited.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for explaining the three stages of the, chanting. So you mentioned about the Gayatri mantra. I know Gayatri mantra cannot be just chanted like us, and you have to have diksha, like you have to have
Yes.
be a Brahman actually. Now
Correct.
in India, we see that there are like some what do you call, the yajna is happening, and
Right.
family members are sitting and the priest is reciting that Gayatri mantra, and then all of the people like sitting there in the yajna, they also follow. So if we are following that mantra while that yajna is going on, even though we are not Brahman, are we making any offenses by reciting that? in the yajna, or I mean, can you explain, like, is it okay to do
Yeah.
that, like, whenever we join
No,
any
see, very
yajna?
technically, very technically, yes, because any of these mantras, other than our Hare Krishna mantra, if it is not chanted based on the rules and regulations that have been prescribed for chanting the mantras, it will not have effect. Forget not having effect, it will be an offense to the mantra, and we might even get some negative repercussions. Like I remember once, this we have the Nasima Kavacha, right? Sorry, not the Nasima Kavacha. There's one Nasima, see, there's one Nasima Kavacha and then there's one Nasima Stuti. I forget. It basically, like, during the COVID times when some of our ISKCON devotees, senior ISKCON devotees were sick, there was a lot of appeal that people chant Nasima prayers and extra rounds and various things. So at that time, there was this, in Bombay, there was this thing that devotees were trying to chant this Nasima Stuti. But then, if you read that Nasima Stuti very carefully, it is not that you can just chant it any time of the day. It has to be chanted after taking bath, sitting on the floor with crossed legs and fully meditating. And like there is some rules, regulations that have been given when it has to be, like, it has to be chanted 3 times in a day and in that specific way. And if not being done in that way, it is an offense. So very technically, like, if we are having some yajnas at home and we are having priests, like the local priests, and they are chanting mantras, and we also have to follow after them. Yes, we are doing an offense because we don't know, like, what are the rules and regulations, and most likely even that priest will not know. He's also just mechanically say. And unfortunately in India the situation is so bad. In some places these priests, they will come, do the yajna, chant mantras, go back, and then they will, like, either take cigarettes or sometimes they even take alcohol. So the situation is really bad. Now, one reason why for ISKCON devotees, it's always recommended that please invite devotee priests, because at least we know that they are going to follow the 4 regulative principles, follow, like, they are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, they are following the paddhati that has been given in Gopal Bhatta Goswami Satkriya Sadhatipika. So at least that assurance is there. Now, but then yes, when we deal with family members, we cannot always say outrightly that this is an offense. Yeah, because sometimes they get offended. They start feeling that, oh, just because these people have joined ISKCON, they feel they are very superior. And like, all these things come up. So then instead of being able to be an instrument to get our family members connected with ISKCON, we might actually draw them further away. So a practical solution of handling such situations, which I've seen some senior Vaishnavas do, is that they participate in the family function. Whatever is the family tradition, they do it. But while sitting there in the minds, they are always chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, so that whatever lapses are there in that whole process, that gets like nullified, or basically the effect don't come. Why? Because you're chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in your mind, and that is all auspicious. Then obviously, if possible, in some places where people are more favorable, more conducive, you can even have Srila Prabhupada's that Hare Krishna chanting box playing in the background. So in low volume, Hare Krishna mantra, by Srila Prabhupada is being played, and the Brahmana is chanting whatever mantras he has. Then like, sometimes what people do is, like, sometimes there are these vratas for other demigods, like not for Vishnu, or like, sometimes for married women, they have some pujas for Lakshmi Devi or Durga Devi for that matter. So then, what devotees do, or what they try to do, is that they will like, offer the bhoga first to Krishna, and that prasadam is then offered to Lakshmi Devi or to Durga Devi, as a part of that vrata. So all this depends on how conducive the other family members are. If they are not, then we have no choice. We have to just, in our mind, we can keep chanting Hare Krishna mantra. But if they are, then we can gradually, introduce various things. So yeah, that's the answer, Prabhu. I hope it answers.
Yes, Mataji, that helps. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for mentioning this, because just recently there's one Mataji, her name is Prema Prada Mataji, and she was visiting she went to the Mahashivratri festival in a Chinmay temple.
Right.
In the Chinmay temple, the Mahashivratri was going on, and she's from South India, and she's the president of a Deland temple here in Orlando. So president's wife. So the husband, wife, and their son Ram, all of them went there. And yesterday also, I was only attending her class in the evening, and she was mentioning that we went there and there was all kinds of things going on. They were reading, so she said, I just sat back because I wanted to come and pay obeisances to Lord Shiva, and we know from Bhagavatam who Lord Shiva is. So she was part of that whole ceremony, but she said I had my chanting beads and I was chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it was so nice. This is just like what you mentioned. Devotees are so intelligent; they'll find some way or the other. Because sometimes we are in a situation like that, and the chanting bead is another wonderful gift by Srila Prabhupada. We can just hang it and hide it under the coat or whatever we can do with it. If we don't want, to others to see, some of our Maharajas, they put a shawl and then they keep their chanting beads and chanting bag inside, and they're chanting very quietly. So that's I was just saying this because I a lot of time come into situation like that, and I have to also follow this because my mind gets like little bit, how Lord Chaitanya says always that do not listen to the Mayavadis, Sarvanash. So when the mantra goes on, then there is we are in a safe boat that way, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning this as a part of our answer for Manidhar Prabhu. And so I just happened to hear another form of story yesterday by a couple. So thank you, Mataji, and thank you for the wonderful class.
Thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Anything else from anyone?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for explaining these verses so nicely with so many examples. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for this wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Then pranams.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for this wonderful class and
Thank
the
you,
answer
Mataji.
for a question of Manidhar Prabhu's question. So nice about the chanting, the three stages of chanting. And thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Then pranams.
There's one question on chanting. If first I'll let others say, because somebody might have questions. There are a lot of people who have questions, and then I will be in the end.
Mataji, I have one question if you have time.
Yeah.
So I was reading about Abhyas and Vairagya from chapter 6. I'm still reading that. So Mataji, in day-to-day life, like this question always comes that, you know what, I chant every day, but the taste is not coming, and this chapter specifically explains why that's the what's going on exactly, what's causing that kind of result where you are chanting but you don't see growth. So Mataji, could you please shed some light on how do we see growth, and what is abhyas and what is vairagya? Like Prabhupada very strongly says that we are not supposed to leave anything and go to forest. That's not what vairagya means in bhakti. So if you could just highlight that, it would be really helpful, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
So Mataji, I think please, like, just to understand the question. So one is like, how do we measure growth in bhakti? And second is like, what is real vairagya, right? Like, are these the two aspects of your question?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay.
Dandavat.
Okay. So, actually, this morning only I was listening to one class by Her Grace Nitai Sevini Mataji, and she quotes a verse from Chaitanya, from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is being said by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami when he's instructing him, and it is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think in the Madhya Leela, she told a number I forgot. I can just go back to the class, hear it, and probably share it with Shyamrasika Mataji. She can share it with all of you. In that verse, there are um, nine qualities that have been listed, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, which can enable us to measure how much is our growth in bhakti. The title, Nitai Sevini Mataji, she gave this class in the Pune NVCC temple, and the title of the class is 9 steps of blooming bhakti, right? So it's a very wonderful class. I couldn't hear the whole thing. I just started hearing, and then it starts with Kshanti. Kshanti is um, peace, tolerance, etc. We have no complaints in everything that happens in our life. We see the hand of God. Even if something unfavorable happens, we accept it as Krishna's mercy, and we're tolerating it. We don't complain. Like, we have that Kshanti. Then the next thing that's being said is we don't waste a single moment of time. Like, for example, she gives this example, like, suppose you have a phone, your phone battery is charged up to 80%. You get a call, very nicely, you don't mind even talking for 1 hour with your friend, right? But if your phone battery is only 5%, you're still outside, you don't have a charger, you don't have a power bank, you have no way you can charge your phone, and you have to get back home in that 5% battery. And if you get a call, if it's not an important call, people like me will not even answer the call. And if at all you have to answer, you will just tell, we'll just tell, I only have 5% battery left, please tell quickly what is the main message, right? So that is how devotees, they will not waste a single moment of time. So like this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is giving this 9 signs, or 9 goalposts, like how you can measure your growth or where you stand in bhakti. You can rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10. So in that way we can actually measure our growth. I will try and share that class with Shyama Rasika Mataji, and maybe she can share it with everyone. So that is, the answer to your first question, Mataji. And the second question was, what is Vairagya? So we are all Rupa Nugas, and Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, he has always given us the principle of Yukta Vairagya, right? For us, it is not Falgu, like we don't renounce everything apparently and go to the forest, as you said, like in the question itself. So what is it that we do? We try to engage everything in Krishna's service, whatever we have. Now, if we go a bit deeper, Mataji, let us try to understand. What happens is, everything in this world is Krishna's creation. So if everything belongs to Krishna, then everything can be used in his service, right? So therefore, why we have to give up anything? We just have to learn the art of using everything in Krishna's service. Everything, like even the anarthas, like anger, greed, they can also be used in Krishna's service. Only envy is something which cannot be used in Krishna's service, right? Like, I remember I was hearing a class, like, envy has no place in the spiritual world. But otherwise, every single thing that we are seeing in this material world can be used in Krishna's service. So for us, acharyas like Srila Rupa Goswami, etc., they have given us this principle of Yukta Vairagya. Engage everything in Krishna's service, and then we can make our life successful. And Srila Prabhupada showed us practically, like, a sannyasi is not supposed to travel. Then he, like, forget even like Srila Prabhupada, even his guru, like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he used to travel in those carriages, like horse-driven carriages. Why? Because he had all VIPs visiting him from the British government. So in order to, give them a grand reception, he had all modern facilities. Srila Prabhupada wanted to preach around the world. He was taking aircrafts. He used to go everywhere, right? He toured the world so many times. So we know, like, Srila Prabhupada was using the dictaphone. So he wanted to use all the modern technology in preaching. And, we are seeing his disciples, how they are using all the modern technology, like whether, see, social media came, devotees started using social media for preaching. Now, artificial intelligence, AI is coming, devotees are using AI to generate Krishna conscious videos and increase preaching. Like, if you see some of these videos, AI generated videos on YouTube, how wonderfully, devotees have made these videos which are giving like such wonderful messages. Like, how we are not the body, we are the soul, how we are going to die. So, what is the real purpose of human life? And such effective ways, such wonderful ways of preaching. So, that is what is the principle that has been taught to us by Srila Rupa Goswami. I hope it answers both your questions, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Very much. Very much. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Anything from anyone else? Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji. Even while Corona, the Zoom was used for, connecting,
Yes.
to make connections. We could meet each other. So, yeah, devotees find every way to this thing. You're right. So Mataji, my question is on chanting.
Yes, Mataji.
Generally, people say that, like initially when you start chanting, then, your round is like, it takes 10, maybe 15 minutes. Slowly you chant one round or two rounds like that. Then what happens is, as you keep progressing, you move forward from 2 to 4 or 6, 8, like that. Then, from 10 minutes you come to 8 minutes, little faster. And then, you also come to a point where some people chant in 1 hour 45 minutes also, instead of 2 hours. So it's like
Right.
6.5 minutes. Like,
Correct.
these calculations are there, right? So Mataji, my question is, like, with me, if it's the opposite way it's going. Like, for example, I used to chant like 4 rounds in 25 minutes earlier. And under 2 hours, I was able to finish my rounds very fast. I knew that under 2 hours, I'll easily finish my rounds, 16 rounds. So, but now what has happened is that, the round is like, it takes like 2 hours, 25 minutes. More time is taking. So I was just wondering that, and I'm not able to do only in less time. Somehow or the other, I mean, it takes me 35 to 40 minutes to do 4 rounds, So I don't know why I'm so focused on time, and so much anxiety is there that all I'm thinking is, I need 2.5 hours now. Earlier it was 2 hours. So all these thoughts are coming in the mind, and calculations are there. I don't know how much I'm concentrating on the holy name, more on time, I think only. I'm seeing the time only, So please guide me the right way, how to go about looking at this perspective, of time and chanting.
Right. Sorry. Thank you, Mataji. I think a very nice question. So one, obviously, like one, yes, like, we have to be trying to focus more on the holy name rather than trying to constantly, keep eye on the watch or keep an eye on how many numbers we have, how many rounds we have completed. But at the same time, we also have to be alert because, like, we are our own watchdogs, we are our own security because there's no one else to kind of monitor us. So we have to be like, cautious that we're not spending too much because typically what happens is like, now I'm not saying it for you, but I'm just saying in general, if we start spending more time on a single round, most likely it is not because of so much taste for the holy name or absorption in the holy name, but either we might be falling asleep while we are chanting, or maybe the mind gets so distracted. Like, when we start getting more thoughts in our mind, then the speed of chanting reduces, or we might chant but we may not move the beat, and these kind of problems happen. Now I cannot comment specifically for you, because I mean, I don't know, it's a very it's a very personal or a very case to case thing. So you only have to probably introspect and really see for yourself that what's happening. It might happen that the initial 3-4 rounds might be happening at a certain speed, and then as we move further, like towards the completion of, like towards, like, let's say round 12 to round 16 is where these problems are arising. So again, Mataji, I think it's a very personal question. So either introspect, or someone whom like someone senior who can actually, like, with whom you can sit and chant, and they can probably observe and try to give some inputs. I think that's a more effective way of solving this thing. And yes, we can always, like, there are these workshops by Mahatma Prabhu, by Sachinandan Maharaj. If possible, you can try and attend some of them, because in that, it really helps build the right mood for chanting the holy name. So that's what I have to say, because
So
it's
much.
something where, yeah, we really need like personal guidance from senior devotees, that
Yeah.
where exactly are we, kind of failing.
Yeah, actually, why this thing, why I was a little intrigued with my own self is, like, normally from longer time to shorter time people go, but with me it's happened the opposite way around. I was very
Right,
fast.
right.
So that was
Yeah.
really, I was just wondering what is going on with
No,
me.
Mataji, sometimes it may not even be wrong. Like, for me, like, when I was chanting, like, few years back, I used to also complete my round, like 1 round in 7 minutes. And then what happened, like, someone who was hearing me, they said that they couldn't hear me say Krishna very clearly. Now, I was saying, like, I felt I was saying Krishna, I was not skipping, but they just felt that I was saying Krish, Krish, like Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like, they couldn't hear the no. So then I tried to slow down my pace, and actually, with a lot of emphasis, I used to say Krishna. So because of that, my like 7 minutes became 10 minutes. So everything, like, it was taking longer duration to complete 16 rounds. But then I was told that it's okay, because if you're trying to focus on pronunciation, it's okay if it takes more time. It's not a problem. So if that is one reason, that because you're trying to probably pronounce more clearly, or you're chanting loudly. Like, sometimes if you're not very chanting very loudly, we can do much quicker. But if we are also chanting loudly, we might feel tired, and that reduces our pace. So we really need to kind of see, like, what's really happening with us. And most likely we will not be able to do it ourselves. We need some guidance.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. But you did answer the question. Just have to introspect a little bit and
Yeah.
go about. And I mean, and I think not concentrate too much on this time business.
Yeah.
Yeah, because generally I don't keep
We
it.
have to try to focus on the holy name. Like, just ensure that we are not getting distracted by the thoughts, and because of the distraction of the thoughts, it's getting delayed.
Yeah. Like, sometimes what happens when you focus on one round, like they say, to focus on one round, one mantra only, and not bother about the time. But then sometimes, when you're like on a focus one particular round, then it's taking 10 minutes, and then you feel, oh, there's so many rounds to do, so it'll take more time.
Right.
So,
Yes.
that's a common for everyone. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for I think it's the
Thank you.
first thing which is on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay, so I think we'll
Yes,
end
Madhu, you can end the class. Yeah. Thank you so much, Madhu.
Krishna. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Kalpatarubhyascha
Vishnu
Kripasindhu.
Kripasinna Vaivashya
Chapati
Puritanam
Pranam
Pavanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavibhyo.
Anantapudi.
Hare Grace Premeshwari
Jai.
Dasi Mataji ki jai.
All the assembled devotees ki jai.
Holy Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Mataji, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Danvat Pranam. I don't know if you heard, Radha said very slowly.
Yes.
She said Hare Krishna.
Hare
वो
Krishna,
बोलने लगी अभी
Radhika.
लास्ट वीक से.
Hare
अभी हम
Krishna,
बोलेंगे
Radha.
तो नहीं बोलती, अपने आप बोलती रहती है.
अच्छा. Very nice, Radha.
Radha, say Hari Om. He's just staring at the phone now.
Okay.
Hare
Hari Bol,
Krishna.
Radha. Yeah, I heard you now.
Yeah. जय जय करो
Hari Bol.
राधा. हरि बोल. जय.
Jai.
He said Jay. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji.